Hello, this is Pavel, and this is today's operating brief, where I look at AI and technology signals and ask what they change for service companies. The bigger point for today is simple. AI is not removing business discipline. It is moving business discipline into software. SOPs, policy, context, cost, and tools used to feel like a separate management topics. Now they are becoming the operating layer for AI. Let's get started. The first point comes from the thought I wrote down yesterday. How many times have business owners been told to standardize the operation? Write the SOP, create the process, make the workflow repeatable. And for years, that sounded like a boring advice. It sounded like a paperwork. Now everybody wants agentic workflow. They want AI that can take a goal, use tools, move work forward, and maybe even act across systems. Here's my view. Agentic AI does not let you skip standardizations. It makes standardizations the entry ticket. People can tolerate ambiguity. A good employee can fill in a missing step, remember the exception, ask someone, or use judgment from experience. A machine needs the work to be explicit. If the workflow is mostly in someone else's head, the agent is not automating the business. It is guessing the business. For a service company, this is a very practical lesson. Do not start by asking, can we automate this? Start by asking, if this work clear enough that a competent new person can run it from the system? If the answer is no, your first AI project will not be automation. Your first project is turning the work into a system. So the move is to pick up one repetitive workflow and write down the required inputs, the normal sequence, the handoffs, the exceptions, and the owner. This is not a bureaucracy anymore. This is the on-ramp to AI. Portable landing line. The boring SOP work just become the fast lane. America Match wrote about the Cursor support bot incident where the AI support agent reportedly told customers that there was a one-device subscription policy that did not actually exist. The exact details should be checked before quoting the case too strongly, but the lesson is bigger than one company. Here's my view. When AI speaks to customers, it can accidentally become your policy department. That's the part many leaders miss. They think that support bot is answering questions, but from the customer's point of view, the company spoke. If the bot says the policy changed, the customer hears the policy changed. If the bot says the charge is valid, the customer hears that the company made the decision. If the bot invents the exception, the customer may act on it. So this is not only a model quality problem, this is the operating system problem, where the bot get truth. Which policy is allowed to state? What does it do when the answer is uncertain? When does it escalate? Who reviews what it told the customer? For a service company, that matters immediately. Claims, scheduling, billing, rewards, customer service, onboarding, all of this contains company promises. If AI touches them, you need a truth layer, not just a chatbot. The move: take one customer-facing AI use case and write 3 lists. What can it answer? What can it never answer? What must it escalate? That is how you keep software from inventing a business rule. The model is not the product. The governed answer is the product. One of today's newsletter items made a point I like. Model prices can fall, but enterprise AI costs can still Bryce, because the expensive part is not only intelligence. The expensive part is context. Where does the work history live? Where are the permissions? Where are the customer records, notes, documents, exceptions, approvals, and decisions? Here's my view. Cheap intelligence is useless if your context is trapped. This is where the business leaders can get fooled. They see a cheap model, they see a new tool, they see a lower token price. But the real company knowledge is scattered across email, Teams, or Slack, shared drives, CRM, notes, old spreadsheet, people's head, and a dozen SaaS tools. So yes, the model may be cheaper, but the company still cannot use it safely because the context layer is not ready. For a service company, this is a difference between a clever demo and a real operating system. The demo works because the context was prepared. The live business is harder because the context is messy. Customer history is incomplete. The latest policy is not where the AI can see it. Permissions are unclear. The exception logic lives with one experienced person. That is why context ownership is becoming a CIO level issue. It is not just where are the files. It is, can the company bring the right context to the right work with the right permissions? So the conclusion is inventory, one workflow, and list the context it needs. Documents, customer history, policies, prior decisions, approvals, exception rules. Then ask, where does the context live and can the system reach it safely? The model may be cheap, but the company context is still expensive. One of the latest news had a strong cost governance pattern. AI spend is not like all software spend. A SaaS seat is relatively easy to understand. You bought 10 seats, 10 people can use the tool. AI is different. Usage can expand quietly. Agents keep calling tools. A workflow can consume more tokens because the work is messy, not because the work is valuable. Here's my view. The AI build by itself will not tell you whether AI is working. It only tell you that something run. 1,000 tokens can produce slop. 1,000 tokens can also prevent a very expensive mistake. The bill looks similar. The value is not. For a service company, that means the useful question is not only how much are we spending on AI. The useful question is, what work did the spend produce? Cost per clean invoice, cost per resolved customer issue, cost per completed quote, cost per successful claim review, cost per appointment scheduled without rework. That is the level where the AI cost starts becoming management information. This is also where the old business discipline comes back. You do not manage a service company only by total payroll. You look at output, quality, rework, margin, cycle time, and customer impact. AI needs the same discipline. So the move is for one AI-supported workflow, do not track prompts. Track completed work. Then attach the AI cost to that unit of work. If the cost is high but rework collapses, maybe it is worth it. If the cost is low but nothing improves, it is still a waste. So the conclusion is, AI cost only matters when you connect it to the work it produces. Another source talked about AI infrastructure companies rethinking the actual bottleneck. The useful lesson is not the cheap market itself. The lesson is that sometimes the tool we inherited was only accidentally good for the old job. Then demand changes and the accidental tool becomes the constraint. And here is my view. Many service companies are running the business on accidental tools. The inbox becomes a workflow system, the spreadsheet becomes a database, The shared drive becomes a knowledge base. The group chat becomes the approval system. The CRM became a dumping ground. The project management tool became a place where the work goes to look organized. None of those tools are automatically bad. The problem is, when the tool is carrying a business function, it was never designed to carry. AI makes this more urgent because AI needs structure. If the operating system is really in inbox plus memory plus a spreadsheet, the agent has to work through all that fragility. It can summarize the mess, it can draft around the mess, it can maybe patch the mess, but it does not turn the mess into architecture. For a service company, this is a practical audit. Look for the places where the company says, we just use this for now. Those temporary tools often become permanent infrastructure. And when the business grows, the workaround becomes the bottleneck. So the move is to choose one critical process and ask, what tool is doing a job that never designed to do? And then ask the harder question. If we want AI to help here, what operating structure would have to exist first? That answer tells you where the real modernization work is. So the conclusion is AI does not rescue accidental tools. It exposes them. So that is today's Monday brief. 5 different doors, same larger patterns. SOP become the agentic on-ramp. Support bots need a truth layer. Cheap models do not help if context is trapped. AI cost has to connect to real work. And accidental tools break when demand changes. This is why I keep coming back to the same point. A service company becomes a technology-run company when the old business discipline moves into systems. The tool is never the point. What it changes is. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon.